Well, it's finally going to happen. Um, Obviously, not the best kept secret in college football. Uh, a new a news story that has been developing for the last few months, especially this year. And this upcoming Tuesday, on the 7th of January 2025, it's going to become official. Um, the Northern Illinois Huskies, I repeat, the Northern Illinois Huskies are going to leave the Mid American Conference. That is going to be official starting on Tuesday. They are going to leave it. They're going to declare that they're going to leave the Mid American Conference, the MAC, in favor of the Mountain West Conference. Yeah. And because of numerous school board meetings that Northern Illinois officials have been having discussing this potential move, which is going to be an official move. Um, and there are now reports coming out throughout the weekend that, yeah, it's going to happen. Northern Illinois is going to join the Mountain West Conference as a football only member starting in 2026. I will I will attach some links down below in the description box for you guys to check out as some examples of these reports. One from Yahoo Sports, of course, and the other from, let me get information real fast, collegesportswire.usa today. I'll give you at least those two links to look at, and they're all going to say the same thing no matter which link you go to get this news. Um, the main reason, of course, why Northern Illinois is going to join the Mountain West Conference and leave the MAC behind is, well, drum roll please, da 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 da, money. That's not shocking, isn't it? It is going to be about money. At the end of the day, it's about generating revenue, it's about getting more funds, it's about getting more money for your bank account, so to speak. Um, that's it. That's really the main reason why Northern Illinois is doing this. They're like everybody else in college football right now. Again, no shocker, no surprise. Northern Illinois is chasing the money. In one sense, I can't blame them, and I'm not going to blame them. But in another sense, it's yet another disappointment in the ever growing landscape of college football when it comes to conference realignment. The reoccurring theme, as you guys have seen, is schools just packing their bags and moving to a new conference, um, basically banking on the belief that, yeah, the grass is greener on the other side. We don't want to be here anymore. We want to go there. That's basically it. I mean, there are many other factors financially why Northern Illinois is doing this, which I do not have the time to get into right now, but that's just basically it. Northern Illinois, they're going to have an official board meeting on Tuesday to make this whole thing official that they're going to join the Mountain West in 2026. Um, this is a move. If you guys want my opinion right now, this is a move where I'm not surprised at all. I've had, as a fan of Mid American Conference college sports, I've had at least a few months now to prepare for this kind of move to happen. And now that I know it's finally going to happen this Tuesday on January 7th, fine. That it's going to be made official, 2026, they're going to do this, fine. I'm not surprised. It's something I've been preparing for. So, and I have prepared a graphic once again for the thumbnail picture of this video for Bobcat Corner episode number 35. By the way, thanks for coming, guys. This is Bobcat Corner episode number 35. I wanted to change up how I introduced you guys to this episode. Um, I will provide this new graphic that I've made, and it's clearly going to spell out certain things for you. It relates to another previous Bobcat Corner episode I did, uh, kind of explaining this, kind of digging into this, but now I'm going to go a little bit more into this. And no additions until the House settlement is sorted out. Let me get to that bullet point right now. Um, you've been hearing that there's going to be a House settlement um, getting sorted out, getting you know made correct, so to speak, by all parties, and who's going to split up, what amounts of money, which amounts of money go between this conference and that conference, this tier of college sports and that tier of college sports. It's a convoluted mess to say the least. And I'm far from the financial expert that you need to go to when it comes to stuff like that. I've not even begun to dig through all the weeds of that for the house settlement, but it's an important thing. Um, Many people within college sports are paying close attention to that, the house settlement. That's going to be a key thing for all of you guys, college sports fans, to really look into, to really dig through, and to see what you come up with when it comes to financial figures. So anyway, yeah, so Northern Illinois leaving the MAC, that's, it is a significant, hit to the conference. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, if you're a fan of the Mountain West, such as my good friends JY and Steve, JY in particular, they're ecstatic about this, and congratulations to them. They're getting a good program in Northern Illinois. I mean, they have every right to be happy about this. The Mountain West gets more stability getting into the Chicago land area market. So, yeah, that's going to be great for the Mountain West and what they do. But now you got to shift your attention a little bit to the MAC, Mid American Conference, and you have to start asking questions like, okay, what do we do? Where do we go from here? We're currently, right now, technically at 13 members with NIU still, but that's not going to be permanent, obviously. NIU is going to go in 2026 to the Mountain West, so we're going to go back down to 12. And the reason why we are going to have 12 is because we brought back UMass. The MAC brought back UMass for a reason, and that's a big bullet point on this graphic that I want to present to you guys right now. In quote marks, there's a reason why the MAC brought UMass back. Now, I don't think many college sports fans are paying enough attention to this. They're like, oh, yeah, UMass, they're joining the MAC. Okay, whatever. But I think that's a mistake, guys. I think there's a specific reason why the MAC brought UMass back into the fold for all sports, not just one sport, but for all sports. I think behind closed doors, and I cannot prove this, guys, so don't quote me on this. Don't point the finger and say, "Oh, Steven did this, or that." No, no, no. Look, there's a reason why UMass was brought back into the fold to the MAC, and I believe behind closed doors, I believe officials within the MAC got together and basically said, you know what? We're looking at the northeastern part of the United States of America, and we're seeing plenty of potential here. This is a theory that I've been building, in my head for quite a while now, for almost an entire year. And this kind of dovetails back into all the stuff I talked about concerning the University of Connecticut, the Yukon Huskies. And I'm not going to get into that, guys. I promise I won't. And it seems like the very moment that I mention Yukon Huskies fans are going to get mad at me. But so I'm not going to go there. But when it comes to UMass, they're located in the northeastern part of the United States. The MAC added them. Guys, put two and two together and think about it. Why? It's just a simple. It's just a simple question to ask, and I think it just requires a simple answer. Put two and two together. I believe the Mid American Conference sees a golden opportunity in the northeastern part of the United States, and particularly New England area, that they can do business in. They believe that they can do business in this area. You'll see it in the graphic here, specifically the northeastern part of America. And I mentioned this before. in a previous episode, I'm going to mention it again. I believe there are viable options for the MAC to expand to. Not right now, but in like a few years from now. It's not an overnight process, and it's not going to be. You got to cross your T's and dot your I's, so to speak, if you're a university currently in the FCS level and you're contemplating wanting to get up a level to the FBS level. There are many things you have to do financially and logistically, and just crunching numbers and sorting out all your issues like renovating the stadium, building up facilities, training facilities, stuff like that, so that you'd be ready for such an event to move up a level. And not everybody's prepared to do that. Not everybody is going to be prepared to do that. We all know that. So this next bullet point here, 2026 and beyond, FCS options, question mark, and I specifically put in a question mark. These are just specific options that you may or may not want to look into as far as expansion for the MAC. And I've mentioned some of these schools before, and I'm going to mention them again. University of Albany. I particularly like this school. Um, it's something to really look into because travel wise, it's really good. It helps out current MAC schools like Buffalo, for example. A trip from Buffalo to Albany, you're staying within the state of New York. I don't see how that's a bad deal at all. And the only thing is that you have to, cross through Syracuse in order to get to Albany, or from Albany to Buffalo, either way. So it's not a bad deal. Travel wise, it's not a bad deal. And Albany, they had a good tradition. I mean, maybe not excellent, but a good enough tradition of college football there. They know what they're doing as far as their football program goes. Not always successful, but they know what they're doing. That's why I'm intrigued by a place like the University of Albany, and it is the state capital of New York. And before you guys mention it, yes, it's about markets. It's always going to be about TV markets these days. And so, yeah, New York City, it's a ways off from Albany, but here's my thing. If you can get to Albany, if you can get the Albany market, why wouldn't you get a pipeline to the New York City market that way? Just think about it. If you can get Albany, why wouldn't you get some part of New York City? It's right there. And speaking of New York, I'm going to go down a little bit. This is definitely more of a wild card option here, and not particularly something that I myself would go after first. I'd wait a little bit on this school, but Long Island University, Long Island Sharks, they do not have a long tradition of college football. Definitely not successful college football, and they're just getting started, like their first few years in, and they need time to build up the program. I mean, Long Island. I mean, it's Long Island, New York. It's self-explanatory. I mean, there is some sort of market buzz there in Long Island. It's close to New York, so it's just something worth looking into. I'm not at all saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying look into it, see if you can make something out of it. If not, oh well, move on. And University of Rhode Island. Now, this is a place, this is a school that many people have been talking about. Uh, Many people have been saying that, yeah, Rhode Island is that kind of school that could possibly make a move up to FBS level, particularly not to the MAC, but to other conferences like maybe Conference USA or even the American Athletic Conference, but that's just a ways away. Speculation, rumors, stuff like that. That's all what it is. But yeah, Rhode Island, that's something you have to really pause and give a lot of thought to, because if you're trying to obtain a viable market in the northeastern part of the United States, then you got to look at Rhode Island. It's right next door to Massachusetts, where UMass is. And if you want to make UMass happy this time around, you got to give them a travel partner. Rhode Island would fit the bill for that. Now, would it take time for Rhode Island to get accustomed to FBS football and to get get acquainted with everything that comes with the MAC as a conference. Yeah, of course, no doubt about that. But I believe Rhode Island can fit. I really do. Along with Albany, I would probably go after Rhode Island as well. And another um, option I'd look at, and this is probably going to ruffle some feathers. I'm already prepared for it, but Villanova. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. Very similar to how people approach the idea about UConn. Villanova is also a school rich in tradition of Big East basketball. I know the argument there. We're not going to go back into that. But Villanova, their football program in particular, they have had some good success on the football field, Villanova, and they are in a rich market around the Philadelphia market in that area. And they have their own stadium, they have their own foundation, they have their own facilities. And I have to believe they have money to work with, knowing it's Villanova. We're talking about Villanova here, guys. So, yeah, if Villanova is willing to make the jump, then you could make it work there too. I don't know how reasonable, I don't know how viable of an option it is. For all we know, the American Athletic Conference can swoop in and get it. Who knows? But if you're the MAC and you want to make some sort of a splash, you have to probably look at Villanova as an option. And I've heard other people toss out other schools like and Stony Brook, Maine, you know, other schools like that, which I'm not particularly fond of, to be honest with you, but it is what it is when it comes to that. And speaking of that, I'm going to pull up here in this episode, I'm going to pull up a comment that I got recently because I go up on other YouTube videos, college football videos, particularly the college football guy, Bill. Shout out to you, Bill. And, I leave comments ever so often, and I'm going to put it up here on this screen here. This comment under me, Toby Padwick, that's his name. Um, I'll let you guys read this comment for what it is. It's a very interesting comment. That's how it's summarized. It's a very interesting comment that Toby, he basically agrees with me. Like, let me read part of this. I think the MAC has actually stumbled on their as a conference in finally wearing down UMass. I agree with you. Go Northeast, young MAC, quote unquote. Try to get MAC level geographic coverage in New York and New England. Now, that's interesting that I'm not the only one thinking about this, because if you read my comment above there, it sums it up. My gut is telling me that the MAC needs to go northeast and bring in FCS schools from that area. And back to Toby's comment, if I were the MAC, I would have standing offers to every New England state flagship university if they upgrade their stadiums to 25,000 MAC level capacity. That's the capacity of seats that a MAC team has to have, 25,000 seats. I would target, according to Toby, I would target Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, and Stony Brook. Okay, so he agrees with me about Rhode Island. Now he says in parentheses here, I'm not sold on Albany. I'm not sold on Albany, but whatever, it is the MAC, sure. Not as sold on Albany. There is a huge and highly profitable audience for second-tier FBS football waiting in the Northeast, and the MAC is well positioned to capture it. Boom. That's exactly what I was talking about, guys. So I'm going to leave this comment up for a little bit for you guys to see, but to finish on my other point, the graphic here, going Northeast is the answer. I just have to lay it out there, guys. I believe it is. Where else do you want the MAC to go? Going out further west is not a good idea, in my opinion. Just my opinion, but I don't think it's a good idea to go out west. I've heard mumblings, I've heard rumors of like, okay, the MAC is going probably going to go after Illinois State and convince them to join. In particular, Illinois State probably would not be that bad of an idea, but considering all the options that are out there, I don't think you should put Illinois State on the top of the list. I just don't. I mean, yes, you're going to lose Northern Illinois, boohoo, whatever, but just to immediately replace it with Illinois State, that's a panic move, in my opinion. I think it's a panic move on the Mac's part if they did that, and I don't think it's a move that has a lot of foresight to it. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I just don't think it has a lot of foresight to it. And this last bullet point here, media deal, $4 to $5 million per school per year. You need money to compete. Okay, one thing that I know for sure that I've learned out of all this stuff concerning conference realignment is that no matter what conference you're in, you need money to compete. You need to generate enough revenues, no matter what it is, no matter what it's from. Ticket sales, TV media rights, whatever it is, whatever you can whatever you can stock up in funds, whatever it is. You have to have enough money to compete. Whether it's on the G6 level or the power conference level, or if you're in that big ivory tower of the Big Ten and SEC, yeah, you have to have money to compete. And if you're the MAC, you have to. I'm trying to be somewhat blunt when I say this, but if you're the MAC, you have to get off your butts and you got to start making moves. Whatever moves they are, you got to start making moves. You can't keep screwing around, so to speak, out west and think that North Dakota State and South Dakota State or schools like that are just going to join you. Don't waste your time doing that. There's untapped potential up here in the Northeast that's just waiting to get in on this. I do believe a couple schools can do it. Not a lot, but I do believe a couple schools can do it. If it were me, I'd go after schools like Albany and Rhode Island. Those would be my 1-2 combination. That would be my 1-2 combination, Albany, Rhode Island, if I had to guess right now. But I could be very wrong. I've been wrong in the past, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Yes, it's going to be official. Northern Illinois is leaving the MAC for the Mountain West, and with that, discussions have got to start up now about what the MAC does next for expansion. I truly believe, in my opinion, that the MAC has to expand up to 16 teams to stay as a viable conference. They're going to have at least 12 schools overall when this is all settled. So that means there are 4 spots remaining. Okay, so where do you go to fill those 4 spots? 12 plus 4 equals 16. I just think it's an interesting discussion to have, guys. And I think it's a discussion that's going to keep popping up as the years go on here. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hope you guys are having a good start to your new year in 2025. And of course, I'll be back with more content on Bobcat Corner. This is Stephen Vid reporting again. Take care.